Like I said before, I respect any fighter that gets in that ring that puts in the work. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. Fighter puts their life on the line. Every time they step in the ring. Outside, obviously everybody has their own problems and everybody goes through their own thing. So, I'm not anybody to judge. I'm not perfect. But I just wish the best for him. Only thing I can do is just pray for
Yes,
him
sir.
and just wish the
And you let everybody in Texas know what to expect. You look at the camera and say what to expect June 28th when you invade Texas and you welcome their support.
Yeah, well, you guys can expect. Honestly, it's gonna be a great fight. I know it's gonna be a great fight. Fireworks for sure. Like I said, my opponent, he's gonna be tough. He's hungry. He's gonna want to come forward, and it's just gonna be a great fight. So I hope to see you all there, and you guys be able to see for yourselves.
Talk about Mexican Independence Day. We can call this Teddy Atlas here in Las Vegas, Nevada. You heard from the champion himself, knocking out the competition.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. And like our guest, who's 14-0, Marv Nation's own Nathan Morenito Rodriguez. And he's going to perform once again, put his undefeated record on the line July 28th. That's June 28th. Friday, June 28th in Texas. He's going to put it all out on the line for you, the public, the fans, and the supporters. As always, he always gives back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Fighter's Voice, Nathan.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I started getting excited. I started thinking about July because I know you're going to fight, and I started thinking about fireworks, man. And, just the way once that bell rings, you bring fireworks. So between this fight in July and 4th of July and fireworks and your two hands, man, it's sometimes we get confused sometimes.
No, definitely. It's gonna be the whole event is gonna be full of fireworks. They're gonna be great fighters. There's gonna be a lot of other fighters and great fights. It's gonna be streamed on the zone, so I know the people in Texas are gonna love the card for sure.
Well, let's talk about the last card. In the last time you were in the ring, you were also in the ring with an undefeated fighter who was hungry, who came all the way, I believe, from, what was it, Nicaragua, or what was it exactly that he came from?
Ecuador? Yeah, he was from
Oh,
Ecuador.
okay, Ecuador, they're neighbors. And,
Yeah.
he came to America with a dream. And, he brought his dream to the ring. And unfortunately, his dream ended. Fortunately, yours continues. But let's talk about this round where it reminded me of Marvin Hagler. He's the only fighter that I've seen, besides Tyson Fury, hitting himself, knocking a fighter out and then hitting him and knocking him back in. And there was a moment inside, I believe it was the 4th round. I'm not too sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. You landed a vicious left hook. He was totally out on his feet. The rope kept him up. After he backtracked from the rope, he just went into killer instinct, muscle memory, and just started trying to wail on you, landed one left hook as you ate it, and you continue to put the pressure on. Tell us what exactly happened on that flurry, and what were you thinking once he was out and then he just came back swinging?
Definitely, yeah. I watched the fight and stuff when it told me, but I had a video like I see also when I was in the fight, but I had hit him and like I said, he was he was frozen, but I believe his head went like outside the rope. So I didn't want to be dirty and hit him. I didn't know if the ref would take off the point. So after I hit him, I kind of froze and I see like his head was under the rope. So I kind of waited a bit and then like he just woke up and he started swinging at me and I was like, oh man. So I just got back on my defense, but yeah, he definitely had heart and he was definitely comfortable with it.
No, I know he wanted to continue, and I know, you wanted to put on a show and those body shots. I mean, was that something you've been working on in the gym? Is that something or is just in your arsenal?
Oh, definitely. My last camp, I was working on body shots a lot. Somebody can take a lot of headshots, but one body shot, it'll take them out. So that was definitely one thing that we were working hard on during camp. And I put it to use in the fight, and I believe I dropped twice with body shots. So definitely paid off.
No, man. I mean, hey, just watching you perform and watching you grow. The first thing your dad said is what do you think? And I always give an honest answer, and I was impressed, and I said I want to see him again. I want to see more. I want to see him get some rounds on him. I want to see him face a little bit of adversity, and at the same time, I want to take time because I want you to get that experience, that much needed experience. And you know, for you to fight out of your comfort zone, which is your hometown, says a lot about the way you challenge yourself and the way Marv Nation Promotions has faith in your attributes and your skills.
Yeah, and it's funny too. You know, I'm 19, and like you said, with the rounds of experience, you know, if you're knocking out people fast, you really don't learn from that. And in my style, like in my previous fights, I would always box, and a lot of fights, uh, I've gone the distance, maybe 4 fights and stuff. And you know, as fans, you know, people like to see that excitement. They like to see knockouts. But as a fighter, you want to be safe. Like you said, you want to learn. You want to get those rounds of experience. Um, unfortunately, my fight, it did end a little bit early. I believe it was the third round, but you know, I'm glad me and my opponent, we both came out safely. And this Texas fight, I know my opponent, he's very hungry too. He's a very experienced fighter. I believe he was a champ at one point. I think he was like a 9-time national champion. He has some medals in the Olympic Games in different countries. So I know he's gonna bring those rounds and that experience that I'm looking to learn from and grow from there.
Well, I know it's going to be a fun-filled event on the card, and also on the card, I'm hearing Fernando Vargas Jr. is also going to be on the card, and as well some other top contenders per Marv Nation Promotions. Tell us a little bit about the fighters that are going to be on there, and what can the fans expect?
Definitely, yeah. Like you said, Fernando Vargas. We had fought together on the card in what was it? In Texas, and my mind went blank right now. What was it? It was last year, but when we fought in Texas. It was Amado and Fernando, me and my brother, and you know, the Texas fans. They came out, they showed support. They were really awesome out there, and they welcomed us with open arms. And you know, I'm expecting the same this June, and I just can't wait to go out there and fight again there.
Well, what's on the agenda? What's that fight really going to be like? I mean, are you having an open workout? Are you going to have a media day? Or is it just weighing in and taking care of business?
Yeah, I believe we'll be doing press conferences out there, media workouts. That's what we did the last time we were out there in Texas. That fight week, we had press conferences, media workouts. We want to go take pictures. So definitely, it'll be definitely cool for the people to come out and you know, see us, like you said, workout, media workout, and take pictures.
Well, in Texas, I mean, they got fight fans galore, man. But in case they can't make the trip down there, how can they watch the fight? And in case they're there, how can they get tickets?
Yeah, it will be streamed live on DAZN. I'm sure, you know, if you watch boxing, DAZN is a really big platform. Our fights will be streamed on there, and I think the tickets will be in the Marv Nation, the bio, link in bio. You can go ahead and click there and buy tickets if you guys want to go out there and support in person.
I know you always bring excitement to the ring, and I know you're always professional inside there. You know, I mean, you just got out of the ring. It just seems like a couple of weeks ago. I mean, how do you put that mental hat back on?
But definitely, I mean, I have goals and have dreams, and you know, in order to be able to accomplish those goals, you have to put in the work. You got to work hard. And like you said, I just fought. I want to say maybe about 2 weeks ago. So right after my fight, the next week I was running. I gave my body a little rest when I was running, staying in shape. And then back to sparring the next week. And it's hard work after that.
Okay, I remember watching that fight in the third round. You seemed to really tag your opponent. He was out on his feet, and he just, you know, all of a sudden came back to life. And it was all muscle memory when he started swinging once he came outside the rope. I saw you were hesitant because his back was towards you. And I know it says protect yourself at all time, but he came back and just, I mean, he just kind of woke up. Tell us about that experience once again.
Definitely, yeah. I remember it in the fight, and you know, I've rewatched videos, and I hit him with a shot, and he froze, and like I believe his head went under the rope. So I wasn't sure, or I don't want to be dirty, and you know, and hit him. So he was stuck, and his head was outside the rope. So I kind of froze for a bit, and then I seen like he woke up and he came throwing at me. So I went back on my defense, and yeah, it was a funny, crazy moment.
Yeah, well, he was actually, when his head was outside of there, he was knocked out. I mean, he was out on his feet. We saw the punch. We saw his whole body, the way he reacted. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just woke up. And
definitely. And I mean, I'm not one of those fighters where I like to do stuff, or be dirty. Also, I have respect and stuff.
Yeah.
So, like you said, his back was turned towards me, so I wasn't sure if it was good to hit him. So I just kind of paused, see what the ref was gonna do, and he kept coming at me. So we just kept going.
Well, it was a great event, and the fans came out, the support was there, and you did what you needed to do. And come Friday, June 28th, you're going to be asked once again to perform and do what you need to do. Now, you're on this winning streak. When do you tell yourself, hey, you know what? I know you have a bout and a title that you've defended before and that you've won actually on the, what was it, on the Caleb Plant Carnelo card?
I defended it on that one, but
yeah, on the Regis Pro Gray and Cepeda card. Yes, that's exactly the way it is.
Yes.
When do you step up your challenge? As that to say, when you say, hey, I want the Ryan Garcias of the world. I want the Bam Rodriguez's of the world. I want the Haneys of the world. And when I say them, I know they're not in your weight division, but you know what I'm talking about? Those type of names. Is there anybody on your radar?
Well, right now, whoever, or at the time when I'm ready, whoever has the belts. I'm only 19 years old right now, so right now I'm just getting that experience, trying to climb the rankings, trying to get ranked to be able to fight those guys. Hopefully in about a year or two, if I'm ready by then. So as of right now, I'm young. I'm getting that experience, trying to get as much rounds of experience as I can, so I can be ready for those big fights.
Well, whoever those champions are, when that day comes and when you defeat them, you're going to tell them, brother, I've been studying you for years. I know the way you walk. I know the way you talk. I know what you had for breakfast. I know what you did last summer. You know what I mean? And you're going to be ready because it's not just a physical game. As we spoke the last time you were on the show, it's a mental game. What would you say is your most strengths? Because you definitely got the athletic ability. How strong are you mentally?
Oh, mentally, I mean, to be in boxing, you have to be strong mentally. It takes a lot of discipline, a lot of hard work. There's days where you don't want to work out, you don't want to go run. And those are the days where you have to push the hardest because when you train hard and you push yourself during those days where you don't want to do it, in the fight, it'll pay off and it'll definitely be worth it. And once you're hydrated and everything, you feel good, like it'll be like nothing. If you were able to train or spar during those bad days where you were weak, you were dehydrated, in the fight, it'll be a lot better and easier for sure.
How many hours does that take you? Because I've seen you from weigh-in and, you weren't in a big hurry, but you weren't sticking around either. And your dad had said something. You go, well, you kind of said it casually. Well, I'm going to go get something to eat. I mean, I didn't see you running out the door, so you weren't starving. How long does it take for the weight to settle after your meal, where your hours that are put in and your body's refurbished? When you say, you know what, okay, I'm good to go right now?
I would say maybe probably by the end of the Friday night, the day of the weigh-in. I feel good too after the first meal. My last fight, I didn't feel really bad at all. Honestly, I felt great. I didn't feel really super thirsty, super hungry. I felt calm. I felt relaxed. And after I weighed in, I just drank some electrolytes, some water, and I went to go have a meal. Pasta. Pasta is always my first meal. Carbs, and it was really good. It was amazing.
We talked about your walkout song, and you were kind of undecided at the time. I mean, the DJ was jamming. It was popping, man. And what made you select your song as you walked into the ring?
It was fun. I've heard that song in videos and in repeat. So at the time I didn't know what to put. So it just came up in my mind, that song. It was like, I'll just put this one. I don't have anything in mind, but I think I have a song choice now for the Texas to come out with now. So.
And what colors are you going to be in, and what wardrobe are you going to come in? Is it something you're going to surprise everybody with, or did you give it some thought and you're just going to, walk out what you feel?
Yeah, I'll be representing the Texas colors. Show support to Texas just like they show support to us. So I'll be wearing blue, white, and red.
I was hearing just recently you went and did some PR work where you were asked to speak. I believe it was in Modesto or Merced, and you came all the way across California for that opportunity for the kids or for the youth, and they got an earful of some wisdom. How did that go down? How did you feel about it? And how did you prepare for it?
Definitely, it was a great event. It was over there in Modesto. We went to go speak. I was invited as a guest speaker to speak for an event that was called Bridging the Gap. It was about entrepreneurship, and they had me speak, and I had a lot of good feedback, and people were they were very excited to hear my story and how I'm doing and how I've done it so far, and how young they were surprised about how young I am. So it was a great turnout. It was a little nerve wracking, but I was able to do it, and I was able to spread the message. So that's what it was important.
Well, I want you to keep that in thought, because I work at a continuation high school, and I definitely got to have you come down and talk to the kids. Definitely you and some other fighters, and maybe the Vargas brothers as well as yourself. We've had Jose Ramirez come and speak to the kids before, and he made an impact. And I think you, because of your youth, they can relate to you, and definitely take from you, and definitely, pick your brain a little bit on some questions. And that'd be something, that can be a winner all the way around, both yourself for giving back and just the students and the lives that you touch and the magnitude that they get to see you, also not just speak, but, maybe we'll hook them up with some Marv Nation tickets, and they'll make the trip and watch you go live.
That would be awesome. Yeah, like you said, that would be definitely an awesome opportunity. Like you said, they would be able to relate more, as we're more like around the same age group, and so they can see, I'm just as young as them, and I'm able to do what I do at such a young age. So as long as they focus and they work hard, it's possible, definitely.
Morenito, man. I mean, is it Morenito, right?
Morenito.
Let's talk about that chain, man. And I mean, where do you go for your jewelry? Because we talked about it last time, and it was just blasting right there. I mean, you can't just trust anybody with that name. You can't just trust anybody with that story because of what it means to you, your corazon and, your grandpa. Where did you go, and were you pleased with the work? Because, I mean, that thing was glossing. It was floating.
Yeah, man, that chain is very beautiful. Shout out to my jeweler. His name's Don Rose. He's located in downtown LA, and man, he does some awesome work, as you were able to tell with my chain. I was very pleased, and it just came out really nice.
It did.
I was excited. Yeah.
It did. You got to put that on your shirts, man. So then when you see people do that, it's also going to keep your grandpa's legacy alive.
Of course. Definitely, yeah. The shirts that I do for my fights, I get my logo and I put it like a little sparkly glitter, so it looks cool, like it shines too and stuff, so it looks pretty nice.
I was thinking more, I'm not stealing your ideas, but the way your chain is, like the shirt designed of your chain on there.
Oh,
see what I'm saying? So when you're wearing it, they're also wearing it too. But we already know who got the real one, you know what I mean?
I get you, yeah.
You got to think big, bro. I mean, because there's no taking baby steps around here. Marv Nation Promotions does not take baby steps. They go there and they go heads up with the big boys, the top ranks, the DAZNs, the Golden Boys, the match rooms. I mean, you name it, they're right there, straight up in the mix.
Go big or go home. That's how it is.
That's the way it is. Just born a little different. Well, you know what?
Yes,
let's talk about some fights that are taking place this weekend. And I'm talking about David Benavidez, challenged for the light heavyweight championship of the world, moving up in weight, no longer waiting for that phone call from Canelo. And then we got Davis putting his undefeated record on the line and, taking on another tough opponent. What do you think about the matchups, and what's the fight out of the two that you're looking most forward to?
Definitely, those are both great fights. I believe when I fought on the Canelo card, David Benavidez, his opponent, I believe they call him the Nail. He's a solid opponent. I believe his only loss was against Arthur Betterbeef. So he's definitely a great fight. I mean, a great fighter, and it's gonna be a great fight for sure. That's a good move up fight for David Benavidez, and it's good. He's not waiting. He's staying active, and as far as the Gervonta and Frank Martin fight, that'll be a good fight as well. I'm leaning more on the Gervonta side. he has more skills, speed. Um, but it's boxing, and one punch can change the whole fight. So it, we can't be surprised if the whole fight turns out a different way. But it'll definitely be great fights for sure.
My whole thing is I want to see who takes control of the center of the ring. Because
Yeah.
you're going to find out real quick with Gervonta Davis. I expect him to start off a little faster than he usually does, as if to say, "Hey, you know what, man? I don't have time to go a technical fight with you. I need to let you know who's the boss, and I'm going to back you up." And once his opponent starts to retreat, it's all survival right there. They're just happy to go the distance, get some rounds in. They no longer are trying to win. That's because their game plan was taken away from the boss. Because when you're the champion, you got to bring it continually every single time at these different levels. What I said, does that make sense to you? Or how do you see the fight transitioning as the rounds go through?
Definitely. Tank, I feel like he always kind of waits a couple rounds in the beginning. He lets the opponents, come forward and he sees what they have. He's a small fighter, so most of the guys are usually bigger. So they always try to take the space and take the middle in the beginning, and in the later rounds, that's when Gervonta, he starts to walk forward and display his skills and his power.
I think the David Benavidez fight, I think a lot of questions are going to be answered in that fight. I think the champ is going to have his rounds, is going to be he's going to have a success in the fight. It's not going to be dominated until, I'd like to see David wear him down, but I think David's going to have to earn the belt. I mean, completely. This champion is just not handing it over to David Benavidez. He doesn't believe the hype. He doesn't believe anything about the Mexican Monster. He can care less if he fights Canelo or not. He's focused on David Benavidez, and he wants to showcase his talent amongst the masses of the world.
Definitely, like you said, he's not going to just give it up. And, David is moving up, so the guys now in that weight class are about the same size as David Benavidez. So we'll see how David's power and how everything just transitions into that weight class. So it'll definitely be a great fight for sure.
Well, you seem to have all the boxing analyzing to a T. I want to ask you this, because we talk about the good part of boxing, the bad part of boxing, in the real side of boxing. What comes to your mind today, right now, that I mentioned? I'm going to mention his name, and what comes to mind? Ryan Garcia.
Like I said before, I respect any fighter that gets in that ring, that puts in the work. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. A fighter puts their life on the line, every time they step in the ring. Outside, obviously everybody has their own problems and everybody goes through their own thing. So, I'm not anybody to judge. I'm not perfect. But I just wish the best for him. Only thing I can do is just pray for him and just wish the.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off. I said, yeah, that's right. That's basically all we can do for him. And I don't judge anybody. I mean, people are quick to judge. People are quick to stomp you. And they want to give you their foot instead of their hand. They want to write about it. They want to talk about it. And then yet, once you're winning or once you're glamoring, then they want to act like they got your back. And that's just the whole world. That's just the way it is, set in stone. But
exactly.
I've been in higher places. I've been in lower places. The fighter's voice. The fighter's voice was created because every fighter has a voice. And when we came up with a name, it wasn't, you didn't need a mouthpiece or boxing gloves. You're fighting. You're fighting. Your whole life is a fight. Whether you're fighting for your marriage, or you're fighting to get a raise at work, or you're fighting to wear clothes, or fighting to get food, or fighting to get ahead of life. So that's exactly what we're talking about. And every day's a fight, man.
Definitely. And it's funny because one thing I noticed too, like, especially in the boxing world, a lot of fighters, whenever they're fighting, or if they're fighting somebody that maybe, a lot of people don't know, they like to criticize and say bad things. But, at the end of the day, like I said, the fighters are risking their lives. They're putting in the hard work. And boxing is not easy. It's not a game. And, it's like, it's just crazy when I hear people like, oh, like, this guy's a bum, like the guy they're fighting bum or blah blah blah, and it's like every fight is a tough fight. Like I said, one punch can change the whole fight. So any fight is not an easy fight. Every fight is a hard fight. So that's one thing that that I see a lot of people, they like to criticize, or like you said, when fighters lose, they switch and they're like, "Oh yeah, I knew he was this and that," and just it's just crazy, you know.
You know, I used to go tit for tat with these guys all the time. And I just stopped doing it because they would always call a fighter a bum. And I'm going, how can you call this guy a bum? And so I would tell him, I would get back on the go to war with him. I said, well, you know what? I got his personal phone number. Why don't I call him and you can spar with him tomorrow? Since he's a bum,
Exactly.
since, you know, he's nothing. Why don't you spar with him a
Yeah.
little bit? And you know,
Exactly.
it just never stopped. And all I was doing was giving them attention that they didn't need. And especially in boxing, how can you be a follower, a supporter, and all you do is talk smack? I mean, I don't get that. I just don't get that. That is the most lack of respect ever. You guys come and entertain. You guys bring the war to everybody, and you guys use your platform to display your skills and the risk that's involved. See, nobody talks about the risk. They talk about your speed, Nathan. They talk about your jab. They talk about your body attack, but they're not talking about the risk you take every time you take a CAT scan, every time you take a physical, every time you do a weight cut. You know, every time that bell rings, what's at risk? What's at stake? More than the glory, there's a lot of risk there.
Exactly, and and I've been seeing too, because Canelo has been getting a lot of criticism for not fighting David Benavidez, and like he said, you just don't pay attention to what the people are saying. At the end of the day, it's you in that ring, like that they're not really like doing much for you. It's you in that ring, so I like that. He doesn't care. He keeps doing what he's doing, and he's making his legacy, and he's just doing great. So. Respect to Canelo for that.
I will say this. He has his reasons for whatever reason is. And I'm going to say this, and I really don't speak for fighters, but as far as them saying he's afraid of diabetes, he sure in the hell ain't afraid of nobody he gets in the ring with. He's a fighter. He signed up for this.
Yeah.
There's nobody in his division or 5 pounds up or down that brings fear to him. It's business at this point, and he's earned that right for business.
Yep. Exactly. His resume speaks for himself. He shouldn't have to do no talking. He just got to look at his resume. He's fought nothing but champions in the last years. And he's just been beating most of them. I think his recent loss and only loss was to Bivol recently. But other than that, he's been beating all these other world champions. And like I said, not a fight is never an easy fight, no matter who it is. Every time you step in that ring, it's a risk. So.
Deontay Wilder recently lost, and it was one-sided to the big Bam, in China.
Yeah.
And what's your take on that? I mean, he was just a shell of himself. I didn't see him let loose, his hands loose. I didn't see the confidence there. I didn't, maybe he was retired before he went in the fight mentally. I mean, what do you think about the whole event itself?
As far as the Deontay Wilder fight, I didn't get to see the whole fight. I did see the clip where he got dropped. But yeah, I believe he's like late 30s if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But he's accomplished a lot. I believe he started boxing at the age of 21, which is very late. But he was able to accomplish a lot. He was world champion, and I feel like he did what he had to do in the sport already. He was definitely one of the biggest heavyweights, in this time. But I feel like there comes a point where it's just time just to let him go and finally retire, and you just got to look out for yourself at the end of the day. So.
Well, he's done really well, on the Tyson Fury fights, made a lot of money, gave everybody what they wanted, which was knockouts, and he would end fights decisively with that big right hand, and
Exactly.
It's the desire, along with sometimes, you just can't, you just wake up one day and it's just not there anymore. And I like to see him just drift off into the sunset, still be a part of boxing, maybe some broadcasting or analysts or maybe a trainer. But, it's hard for a fighter of that magnitude to walk away. I mean, it's easy for the public to guide him out, but he has to make that ultimate decision completely and know that it's completely done.
Of course, yeah, like you said, he already did his big fights. The fights, a lot of people wanted to see the knockouts. He made his big money, and there's more to life than just boxing. Just time, like you said, just to retire, enjoy life. Take care of yourself, health wise, and just enjoy family. And yeah, like you said, interviews or just things like that, where you still have a part in boxing, but you're also not putting yourself at risk anymore.
Before I let you go, I want to talk again about the event. Now, when this fight and this opportunity was brought to you, and they said, hey, you're going to be on this card here in Texas. What was your immediate thoughts? Were you thinking, okay, this is something that's out of my area now? I get to expand and show everybody exactly what I'm made of and what time it is?
Exactly. It doesn't matter where it's at. I'm always excited to be able to fight. Texas, like I said, the last time we were out there, we received a lot of support. A lot of people came out, and it was a great event. So I'm definitely looking forward to be able to fight out there again. And just all different parts of the world, and get supporters from all over, and just continue to showcase my skills, and just show them my journey to becoming a world champion. God willing.
I just got to show this off a little bit, man. What you think about this old school right here, bro?
Who is it? Is De La Hoya? Oh, Mayweather.
That's old school right
Yeah.
there. I mean, I actually went to that fight, so yeah,
really?
I remember going to that fight, and I just couldn't wait. I was thinking, okay, do I take a picture right with that first round? The bell goes off, or do I just watch? So I kind of did both. It was just I couldn't wait to see these guys share the ring together. I remember Mark Anthony sang the national anthem. And people were getting mad at George Lopez because he kept standing up because when Oscar would score, and they were telling him to sit down. And yeah, it was a good fight, man. It was a good atmosphere, and that's one of the fights that I remember the most.
Definitely, that's awesome. Yeah, old school boxing, definitely a lot of great fights. The best were going up against the best, so that was definitely a good era for sure.
When you're chilling at home and you're watching a fight, which is your go-to fight that you enjoy watching over and over again, or one that you watch with your dad?
I wouldn't say one specifically. I just look at different boxers, and pick up different things. There's definitely a lot to learn in boxing. You learn something new every day. Right. So there's not one particular fight that I like to watch. But I do watch a lot of fights, and study, and practice things in the gym. But yeah, I wouldn't say one in particular.
I'm going to give you the platform right now, and you let everybody in Texas know what to expect. You look at the camera and say what to expect June 28th when you invade Texas, and you welcome their support.
Yeah, well, you guys can expect, honestly, it's going to be a great fight. I know it's going to be a great fight. Fireworks for sure. Like I said, my opponent, he's going to be tough. He's hungry. He's going to want to come forward, and, it's just going to be a great fight. So I hope to see you all there, and you guys be able to see for yourselves.
So how do we follow you once again on your Instagram, or do you have Twitter?
I believe so, but I don't really use the main thing. Instagram.
So you're mostly on Instagram than anything else?
Yeah, mostly on Instagram. That's where I'm at. But you guys can find me on Instagram at El Morenito Boxing.
There you go. Hey, you heard it from the man himself. Undefeated, 14-0, looking to go 15-0. June 28th, Texas. He welcomes all the fans, all the support, welcomes the whole state. He wants to make it happen. Put Marv Nation once again on the map, because Marv Nation is like a liquid. It's just coming over, and it just keeps running over people. And remember, you got to remember, Marv Nation, the only nation that matters. You know why? Because it's simply like the fighter's voice. It's knocking out the competition.
Exactly. Marv Nation is coming and to stay, and we're going worldwide little by little. So we're bringing more fights, hopefully to Texas and to different states or different countries all over the world.
And soon to hit Fresno. I can't wait till you guys hit Fresno, man, and take over Fresno.
Yeah, soon. We'll be in talks to definitely, like you said, I was out there in Modesto. I believe Fresno's around that area. Yeah. So they said there's not much boxing out there. So, hopefully one day we can take an event out there for sure.
Hey, I'm your host, Richard Ortiz of The Fighter's Voice. And I want to thank our guest, Nathaniel Rodriguez, and he'll be putting his undefeated record on the line come June 28th, Texas. He's going to make it happen. Stream it live on the Zone, or get your tickets here with Marv Nation Promotions. Remember, there's only one promotion that matters, and it's Marv Nation Promotions.
Exactly.
As always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Hey, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week. Remember, it's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, the special guests, and all the crew, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.